This is another beautiful day on radio. Another morning to explore politics. Another morning to think aloud. It's another morning to dream. But let me pass this message to my children. Hello, parents. Are the children around? Please call them. I want to speak to them. They are my children. Hello, children. As you grow and navigate the world, I want you to remember that your choices and actions have the power to shape not only your own lives, but also the lives of those around you. Hello, children. Always strive to be kind, compassionate, and honest. For lack of honesty has brought our country to this point. You must not follow that path. Hello, boy. Hello, girl. I'm talking to you directly. Treat others with respect and empathy, just as you would want them to treat you. I hope you understand. But one point you should take away on this show is that I want you to be brave. Be brave and stand up for what is right, even when it is difficult, even when you have to stand alone. Do you understand that, child? Listen to this again. I'm talking to you this morning because we cannot afford to neglect the future. So take this to heart. Be brave and stand up for what is right, even when it is difficult, even when you have to stand alone. Remember that integrity, humility, and forgiveness are essential qualities that will serve you well throughout your lives. Now, this is my letter to the children of Africa as they listen to me this morning. This is a letter to my children. Never give up on your dreams and aspirations. Work hard, persevere, and stay committed to your goals. Don't say because you are a child you should have no dreams. Let your mind soar. Dream big dreams. You are not as young as you think. The generation I dream of is the generation where children grow up on time. Not a generation where 40-year-olds are calling themselves youth. No. At 40, they should be presidents and governors governing. They are not youth. I mean, never give up on your dreams and aspirations. Dream. Dream of big things. Dream of flying to space with Elon Musk. Dream of building rockets. Dream of being the greatest in the world. Dream of making humanity better. Dream of climbing the highest mountains. Dream of touching the stars. Dream of making first class. Dream of being president, of being governors. Dream of being that great imam that will change the world with the words of Allah. Dream of being that great pastor that will redeem the land. Dream big. But also remember that success is not just about achieving your goals. It is more than that. It is also about the positive impact you have on the world. Most importantly, always remember that you are loved, that you are valued. And that love is not just from me. It is a love from the people who care about you. I want you to know that your country loves you. So work hard to protect the future of your country. Nigeria loves you. I love you more than words can express, and I'm so proud to be part of you. With all my love and blessings, I wish you well, child. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmund Obilo. Good morning. Yes, it's my word. It is the radio man's time. The radio man is here. The radio man has come. Radio. The radio man is here. Are you there? The radio man is here. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. And I'm happy you are in class this morning. How was the class last week? Let's explore politics, history, and power again. In this class, I'll take you on a journey and stroll with me and be patient with me as we roll. I have entitled this class Power and Its Predators, a Nigerian Perspective. That is what I have titled this class. Power and Its Predators, a Nigerian Perspective. But I'm going to use Oyo State as a case study. So you would ask, why not call it the Oyo State Perspective? I did not do that because the politics of Oyo State is similar to the politics of Imo State. It is similar to the politics of Zamfara State. It is similar to the politics of Lagos State. So that is why I called it a Nigerian Perspective. So the theme of the class is Power and Its Predators, a Nigerian Perspective, but using Oyo State as the tool for my analysis. What have I also done? This edition is like an echo from the past. I've gone back to 10, 11 years behind, 11 years back, to explain the theory of power. You will also hear voices of men that are with us. We will also read. Remember, it's a class of politics and power. The dead are no longer with us, but their voices still echo in the halls of our hearts. The intention is not to cry because they are gone. No. The intention is to learn from their actions. So when one reflects on the admiration and hilarious engagement with dead members of the political class, the voice of Dr. Dejoy Raimi breezes in with a subdued smile. It is not about the innocent request for a ram. Yes, he wanted to make us laugh. But the point is that he drew our attention to the traditional demands of governance in Nigeria. When I reflect on Baba Raimi's voice, it reminds us of our culture of giving, even when what we give is not given for the common good. That is why at this period in our journey, we must find deeper reflections of our past to find a broader view of the future we crave. In this regard, the future is a product of human behavior, and how this shapes the politics we play is key to understanding what the future will be like. So let's bring in Dejoy Raimi. He speaks. Yes, Baba Raimi's voice will come. But the point I make is that in this politics, a lot have been left undone. You go to Bere, you go to Bodija, I hear cries of woes. I see pain written all over the faces of the people. I see hopelessness, as if the leadership has lost total track of what to do with policies. In that case, how do you tell them that there is light at the end of the tunnel? It doesn't sound well to their ears. It has reached the point when they don't want to hear about it. They are more concerned about the story of hopelessness. That is what excites them, because that is what they see. Dejoy Raimi's voice echoes from the past.
And so Ghanaian saw people were bringing gifts to Bola Ige, who was the governor, several cars as gift. Then he told me in this room, Isiaka will be governor.
And Isiaka is governor.
Well, Isiaka is governor, and you know what I said? I said, look at Gani's prediction. There was an angel passing that time who said amen to Gani's talk. Gani said Isiaka will be governor.
And Isiaka is governor.
And Isiaka is a governor. But I owe him a grudge against him. You know the grudge?
No.
During the last Ileya festival, he didn't give us ram. I don't know why. All former SSGs, former governors, former speakers, if they are Christian, they are giving Christmas baskets. Yes, token gift from the government. If they are Muslim, during the Ileya festival, they are giving rams. But I don't know why Isiaka did not give me ram.
Have you called him?
I have not called him.
Call him and ask him why.
Well, I'm asking him through this interview. I'm asking Isiaka, why didn't you give me ram during the last Ileya festival? After all, the ram belongs to government. You spend government money to buy it. Give us the ram. So I'm using this medium to ask Isiaka, why did you not give me ram during the last Ileya festival?
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, some would say that Baba Raimi was entitled. You know, he was former SSG, Secretary to the Government of the state. Some would say he was entitled. But Baba was more on the side of tradition. That is traditional for Isiaka, for governors, to give rams to elders during the Ileya festival. And Isiaka is Abiola Ajimobi. Dejo Raimi was Isiaka Abiola Ajimobi's father's friend. So he was saying that Ajimobi's father came to his room, the room where I interviewed him, where he said that his son will be governor of Oyo State. You know, the father had a dream that his own son will govern Oyo State. And it came to pass. You know, that is the power of dreams. So don't fill your mind with negative thoughts. As you fill your mind with negative thoughts, that is what you will get. Always fill your minds with positive thoughts in the midst of hardship. Dream. Yes, you might not attain all your dreams. But when you fill your mind with positive ideas, your body will become positive. Your brain will be positive. You'll be able to think. When you fill your mind with pain, anger, hunger, hate, it reflects in the way you talk. You'll be shouting, you'll be screaming, you'll be cursing. It will reflect in your house, in your family. Ajimobi's father dreamt that his son would be governor. He did not only dream, he also ensured that he brought up the young man to be a man with the capacity to be governor. So you dream and you act. That was a voice from the past. So this edition of History, Politics and Power can be described as echoes from the past. This edition of State Affairs is meant to keep us awake, because those who sleep for too long are always left behind in this epoch of zero-sum power game that have never found sustainable ways to lift the people to prosperity. If Dejoraimi in his time reflected on the obstacles and attractions of power through traditional prism, then the present economic realities have taught us that no one should expect hamper from the gods when the oracle has not been appeased for the wrongs of the past. This is the season of hampers. I am saying this morning that do not expect hampers from the gods because the oracles have not been appeased for the wrongs of the past. That is not to say you should not dream of hampers. Will Sheyi Makinde give out hampers in the traditional way that Dejoraimi called for it? The ball is in the governor's court. I remember when that child became hungry in the famished land. The children were hungry. Mothers and fathers were hungry. There was no food in the land. But the people offered the only tuber of yam left in the land to the gods. Imagine. The only tuber of yam left in the land was offered to the gods. Imagine. In the middle of the night, this boy sneaked into the shrine to go cook the yam. In the presence of the gods, the young man cooked the yam in the shrine. He had a blast as he ate to his fullest and fell asleep. Unfortunately or fortunately for him, the smoke from the cooking attracted the chief priest, who screamed, "Abomination! Ah! Abomination! You have desecrated the land," he screamed. The boy was deep in sleep in the shrine when the people came to see what had happened. They said he had become the property of the gods for daring to eat their food. By the way, why should the gods eat when his children are hungry? This question by the boy provoked the chief priest to want to rain curses on him, but suddenly the gods made the chief priest dumb. Why? It is because the gods reasoned with the boy and revealed to him the secret of the future. That is why, when I knew the secret that was revealed, I needed to start this program by speaking to the children for them to protect the future. I am not the boy, but the secret of the future revealed to the boy has become the knowledge we've been taught about human behavior. That is why this class cannot afford to wait till there is one tuber of yam left in the land. Anyway, don't expect any hamper from the gods until we agree that our kind of politics is not such that brings good tidings to our people in need of love. It reminds me of one man who had the rare opportunity to govern Oyo State for 8 years. Many hilarious moments came from his banters. But the intriguing thing is that his flamboyance did not distract his attempt to subdue the past he frowned upon. In fact, the past caught up with his politics until he became the past. Are you with me in this class? I said that the past caught up with his politics until he became the past. That is the stuff of our politics. At the beginning, you come with the posture to redefine the past. And by the time you are leaving office, you discover how badly you have ransacked the sanity of the future. Let that not be your portion. So take note of this point. At the beginning, they come with the posture to redefine the past. And by the time they are leaving, they discover how badly they have ransacked the sanity of the future. Take that as one of the lessons of this class. If Governor Abiola Ajimobi reminds us of the past, we must be careful not to betray the future by our political behavior of today. Let me repeat. If Governor Abiola Ajimobi reminds us of the past, we must be careful not to betray the future by our political behavior of today. As the people look up to God to weather the storm, Ajimobi wonders why they cannot look on themselves to fix the issues of the time.
And before we got there, Nigerians generally, I've always said it, when you travel out, you see that in Europe, in America, they worship God, just like we do here. But they don't put everything on God. All the things that God said we should be doing, Nigerians will decide that God must do it for them. In other words, tẹ́ bá rẹ̀ ń tó rìn lọ́nbẹ̀ yẹn sìn tí ò wo ibi tó ń lọ tó forí gbógiri yẹn tó bá tó ń sunkún tó àwọn èèyàn kan á dé pé ó ní tọ́lọ́run fi ṣe. Ọlọ́run ò fi ṣe nǹkan kan ó ní òwò ibi tó ń lọ. So the point we are making is that most of the things we should do, we always put it on God.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Echoes from the past. Those who wait on God to build mansions for them are selfish. Don't you think so? Do you agree? That those who wait on God to build mansions for them are selfish. Why? That means they want the angels to take over the jobs of our bricklayers and leave them jobless. We will not allow that. Yes. Ajimobi sounded like a preacher there. In fact, Ajimobi was a preacher. Because being a governor is one of the highest offices that gives you the room to preach well. So the preacher tells you that your mansion is already waiting for you. That all you need is for you to come closer. Come closer. Come closer to God, and He will come closer to you. Right. There's nothing wrong in coming closer to God. But coming closer to God It's not about movement, really. It's about the values and actions you represent. It is those values that define God, peace, love, righteousness. So I tell you this morning, keep your eyes closed and keep your mouth open, for the manners from heaven are not falling again. Ask Tinubu why. Did you get that? Keep your eyes closed and keep your mouth open, for the manners from heaven are not falling again. Ask Sheyi Makinde why. Knock on the door of the governor. He will tell you why. I know Sheyi Makinde understands the point I make. The point I make is where members of the poorly religious class outwit the vulnerable. You know, they come, they keep you waiting for your reward. Some call it dividends of democracy. Some call it heavenly manners. You wait for your reward. Why do you enjoy the goodies of life? After all, life is meant to be enjoyed. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. But they enjoy the goodies, you don't enjoy it. I call this brilliant exploitation, because at the end of the day, you still clap for them. It is what I call the tragedy of society. It is such maladies that make society chaotic in the face of maladministration. It comes in different shapes, as the political class gives reasons why things are the way they are. Yomi Ogunlola describes this as gibberish, not feverish. Gibberish.
Let us assume, for example, that those cases in court go on longer than Ajimobi's administration. So it means Ajimobi will rule without local government councils. That premise is faulty. It is a dubious premise. It is dubious. They can't fool us. And no sane mind will buy such gibberish arguments. It's nonsense.
You know, when Ogunlola speaks, English becomes sweet. But when you make this English sweet, the political class becomes bitter. Can Ogunlola make it simple? In this hardship, our sensory organs are deeply rattled by eloquence. We are hungry, they say. Please, help. But it is gibberish. That is it, gibberish. If Yomi Ogunlola said all that in 2014, 10 years ago, what will he be saying today? The same local government autonomy matter. Ajimobi refused to organize elections. At least she organizes election, whether you like the election or not. Election is election, and somebody is sworn in. It was Ogunlola having his say and Ajimobi having his way. One thing the political class has been able to show confidently is that Nigerians can have their say, but they will have their way. You have your say. Call the radio station. Edmondo Bilo, say what you want to say. We will do what we want to do, and nothing will happen. And nothing happens. I'll tell you why. Are you in this class? Hey child, are you listening to me? I have come because of you, because of the future. One thing the political class has been able to show confidently is that Nigerians can have their say, but they will have their way. During that moment, Ajimobi was waxing politically strong. He was the focal point of Oyo State politics, like Sheyi Makinde is today. I'll tell you a story. It's a story of power. It's a story of time. I recently felt the urge to revisit the book entitled The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. This renewed interest in the classic was prompted by a fascinating encounter I had with a powerful figure in the Nigerian state. A powerful man. They dictate what happens. But let me know if you are in class. Leave your message on X. We are not streaming on Facebook because my Facebook account has been disabled because hackers invaded the space and Facebook invaded us and disabled the page. I can see we are still streaming on YouTube, but I don't have control of that YouTube account because the hackers also invaded my email account, and the email account is linked to the YouTube page. So the hacker now owns my image and my email. So there's a hacker running my email, eobilo1@gmail.com. So if you receive a message from that email, it's not from me, it is the hacker operating it. However, you can come on X. We are streaming on X. And we are streaming on Splash FM Facebook page. So leave your message. Tell me what you feel as I break down this politics. You can also call the radio station. You can call the radio station. Call the radio station on 070 694 930 00. The number to call is 070 694 930 00. You can also call 070 144 75770. So I'll give you the numbers again. 070 144 75770. Call the radio station on 070 694 930 00. So I'm ready to hear your voice as we discuss politics and power. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. William.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, I'm Sunday Ademola.
Mr. Ademola, good to hear you.
Yeah, just to let you know that I'm in the class and say good morning. And whatsoever a man does in the future, it will definitely come back to him. So that's why we are going to be great. You as individual, you must love others. What you want others to do to you, do to them likewise. Think of others. Don't be selfish. And that is love of God. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. I love that. It is precise and striking. Good morning. Let me know if you are in class. And go on X. Let me know if you are in class on X. Are you on X? Hello,
good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. This is Kingsley calling from Basham.
Hello, Kingsley.
Yeah, I'm fine. You see, yesterday I was in class teaching my students government, and I'm trying to let them know the foundational problem of Nigeria. I love your introduction this morning. You see, truly we are supposed to be aiming to rule at the level we are now, not expecting amper. But the truth is, the system has been configured to shield us out of politics. But personally, I know my time will come, and I will not give up. Thank you very much. I really love your program. I really pray that God will spare your life for us. Thank you very much, Mr. Okido.
Thank you. Thank you. Rehoboth Farmhouse. Your choices and actions have the power to impact not just yourself, but also the people around you. Rehoboth Farmhouse has just quoted me on X. Rehoboth, thank you. Are you on X? Let's repost. I can see Abeza Chaso Bina. Abeza is in class. He's on X. He says, welcome, Radio Man. Welcome, Abeza Chaso Bina. How are you? Uncle Gibi is in class this morning. I can see him on X. Come on, X. Let me see you. Let me see who is retweeting or reposting, as the case may be. It's about power. It's about politics. Leave your messages on X. Yes, some of us send messages to my personal WhatsApp number. I don't read messages on that WhatsApp number because if I pick up that phone now, it will be ringing and I won't be able to read. So please don't send messages that you want me to read, except it's information that you are bringing to my notice. I don't have to read that here. So I just focus on one phone. And on this phone on my palm, I can read messages on social media, X, LinkedIn, not Facebook today. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmondo Billo. Stay cool. I'll be back.
State Affairs with Edmondo Billo is live. Through awareness and social reconstruction becomes.
We had the Yoruba Council of Elders.
Those, let me tell you, when power came in 1999, there were many things that people were agitated about. First was the relationship between Afenifere and other political leaders who are not members of the Alliance for Democracy. Principal among these was Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, who was president. So there were a lot of debates about this. So when you talk about people who formed other organizations, Yoruba Council of Elders, Afenifere Renewal Groups, and other groups, have they discountenanced the centrality of Afenifere? None of them. They still know that Afenifere is central to the Yoruba identity.
Let's walk down history lane.
You can.
I'm thinking, it seems Afenifere is constantly in crisis.
Afenifere is dynamic.
It is not changing, it's losing its values. Look at this. Let's go back to the Bola Ige time. Bola Ige was arrested by the Abacha government. At the death of Abacha, he came out of detention. And I learned in detention he had a revelation that Awolowo appeared to him in prison, telling him to lead Yoruba nation out of Nigeria. I also learned he called some news editors to a private meeting where he revealed that appearance of Awo to him. I learned he also took that message to the caucus of Afenifere, telling them that Awo appeared to him in a trance. And Awo came with the message of Oduduwa. Then some leaders interpreted it to say, what is this saying? Why is he always claiming the position of Awo? First, you know about the story I'm talking about, right?
Go on.
I am done with my narration,
Okay.
so I want you to come in now.
Papa, Shibolage was arrested in Ibadan here and taken to Makurdi prison, where he was sharing a room with one of our colleagues, Mr. Kunle Ajibade, who is still a director of the news. Yes, Shibola came back from prison saying that he had a dream encounter with Papa Awolowo. Now let me situate that position. When Abacha came, and Afenifere also came, and we have been holding meetings. In 1995, a meeting was held here in Ibadan at the Premier Hotel. And we said at that meeting, there was a communique at that meeting that we wanted restructuring. We wanted a return to regional government. And there are many people written about that. And when Shibolage came back from prison, he said we needed to work hard on this regional government. So we had a caucus here meeting in Ibadan, in which Shibolage was the chairman, and I was privileged to be the secretary. So that meeting agreed on the restructuring of Nigeria along regional lines. Fortunately for us, General Abacha, as bad as he was, his constitutional conference has already recognized what he called the 6 geopolitical zones. And we believe that was really good enough to start from. So Shifige said, the person who can do this thing best for us was Shifatoni Inoru. Shifatoni Inoru should be invited from abroad to come and lead the campaign so that if he's president, he'll be able to restructure Nigeria along regional lines.
If he becomes president?
Yes.
All right.
And I went to the U.S. and I met Chief Inoru.
You were one of the young persons who were in love with Bola Ige, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Look, I saw your name in the list. Go on, sir.
So, and one of our leaders, I believe, Professor Wale Soyinka, also met with Chief Inoru. Chief Inoru was not happy with his colleagues. He said what the politician did was wrong. That they should agree on the constitution first before they agree on the transition, not the other way around. There was no constitution at that time. He said, how can you agree on transition without the constitution? So, to quote him, he said, I cannot see any light ahead of the tunnel. So, he refused to return to come and contest for the presidency. And it was after his refusal that Shibolage decided that he will contest. Luckily for us, the Metropolitan Club in Lagos invited him to come and deliver a lecture. So it was in that lecture that he made the declaration that he will be running for presidency.
Were you one of the editors in the meeting that Uncle Bola called when he returned from prison?
I was closer to Uncle Bola than that.
But were you in that meeting?
No, I was not in that meeting. But we have already discussed it in the caucus.
So he told you about that dream?
Yes, it was a dream.
And was he ready to fulfill that mission?
If he had been president in 1999, I think he would have, not to take Yoruba out of Nigeria, no, but to create a regional government. And I believe even now that where we are, if the kind of problem we have in the country, a regional arrangement will be better for this country.
We'll come to that.
Yes.
I'm still on the Bola Ige story. When he revealed that dream to leaders of Afenifere, what happened?
After Chief Inoru said he would not run for presidency, Bola Ige decided to run. And it was part of at that time there was a lot of movement for the formation of political parties.
Yes.
Senator Addison has appointed him and some other leaders to consult other leaders across the country to form political parties. And Bola Ige was going around. But before that time, a meeting was held in Kaduna, attended by Chief Bola Ige and some of the other leaders across the country. It was at that meeting Bola Ige told his colleagues that he would like to be presidential candidate of the alliance of the new party.
That is with a meeting with the G34?
No, this was after the G34 meeting gave birth to the PDP.
Yes.
In which Bola Ige participated.
And he also pulled out?
Because that was the instruction from Abraham Adesanya.
Was it true that it was clear at that time that some northern forces, led by Abubakar Rimi, wanted Falai to be the presidential candidate of the PDP, not Bola Ige? So for that reason, Bola Ige engineered the pulling out of the Yoruba caucus from the party.
Let me tell you, the withdrawal of Bola Ige and his team was as on the instruction of
The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I can see Makestos Oshinowo on X. A cursed morning Edmond, an English historian, Lord Acton, in a letter to Bishop Mandel, said power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that resonates with the present state of Nigeria. That is Makestos Oshinowo on X. Come on X, come, let's interact on X. And as you come, repost and leave a message. I can see Benedict on X. He said, wonderful topic. I can see Abdul Hamid. Abdul Hamid, thank you for reposting. I can see Dakbo Okpanide. Hey, I'm happy to see you here, sir. Good morning to you. You are great too. That is Dakbo Okpanide. He's my friend. He's a surveyor. Always on the show. Tu Bosun is on X. And there is Bosun here. He says our actions and inactions have consequences and definitely impact everyone around us. Tubosun, happy to see you on X. Teslim Arishekola is on X. He says, good morning, radio man. I'm in class. I'm happy to have you here, Teslim. It's not Teslim Folani. It's Teslim Arishekola. But you will hear the story of Teslim Folani on this show. I'm using Folani as a case study on this show this morning. But I've read the message of Teslim Arishekola. Thank you. He He says, always happy hearing your voice on radio for almost 2 decades now. Wow. That means you've been with me all the while. Thank you. Teslima Rishekola. Please, Sam, please pencil this name for me. Teslima Rishekola. We'll send Rishekola a book for being there. Has always been there. For almost 2 decades now. All right. Mr. Teslim, can you go into my inbox, send me your phone number so that we can send your books to you. Okay, we'll post it to you, your phone number and your address. Thank you for being there. Seno Hamid Humble says, well done, Mr. Obilo. I'm a silent listener. I've always wanted to listen, not to talk in class. I know many of you that are silent. I can see you. Look at you. Hey, I can see you listening. Oh, look at you too. You don't want to say anything, right? But I can see you from here. Our minds are connecting. I can see you too. Yes, you are listening. I can see you. You are sitting. Good. I see you from here. I greet you. This is from Christian. He says, I'm in class too. Please also discuss Dele's arrest. Dele Farotimi. I have discussed it on X. So go on X. I've given you the details on X. You want to know what happened? What Afe Babalola said? I have given a good breakdown of Afe Babalola's petition. Search for it on X. It's there. It's there. I've given you the details. Okay? Go and read about it. Dele Farotimi. You know, I was reading his book yesterday. There is something about Dele Farotimi, and I'm watching him closely. Dele Farotimi can trigger something. Just watch out for that guy. And watch out for Afe Babalola too. It's an interesting case. Mario Zagado. Mario Zagado is in class. Mario Zagado, are you a Nigerian or Italian? That name, Mario Zagado, like Mario Zagallo. You remember that Italian coach? Thank you for being in class. He said currently in class from the southern part of Nigeria. Southern part. Bayo Olatijob. That's Bayo Olatijob. On X. Good morning to you. I can see you. Mori Histes on X. Good morning. Thank you for being in class. Come to class if you are not here yet. I want to see you in class. Ayeni Olumide on X says, good morning. I'm still much available in class. Thank you, Ayeni Olumide. I've mentioned that name for years. Ayeni Olumide. Big Pedro. Nice show as usual. Big Pedro has invited A.A. Samuel to come to class so that we can have something to discuss this evening. Big Pedro has invited his friend. So who are you inviting to join the class on X? Invite somebody. Tag the person. Tell the person to come to class. Let the messages keep coming and keep reposting on X. Yes, I was saying something. And I also want you to say something. Shea Makinde says, if you see something, say something. Let's look at this. It's a story. I recently felt the urge to revisit the book, The Prince, by Niccolo Machiavelli. This renewed interest in the classic was prompted by a fascinating encounter I had with a powerful figure in Nigerian politics. It began with a call from his personal assistant informing me that the individual in question wanted to speak with me. When he came on the line, he greeted me warmly. I recognized his voice immediately, and he invited me to a meeting at his residence. We settled on a date, and I flew to meet him. His intention, as he explained in the meeting, was to pick my brain on the enduring question of power and its implications for posterity in a land plagued by unrelenting poverty. The meeting took place in his study, a room that immediately commanded my admiration. Hey, this man possessed an impressive collection of books spanning various subjects. However, what captivated me the most was a specific section of his study dedicated to books on power and esoteric thought. When he moved closer to that section, his countenance changed. I began to see him in a new light. This segment of his library was housed in a beautifully crafted, locked shelf with non-transparent glass. The books within could only be seen when the shelf was opened, a deliberate design, perhaps reflecting the guarded nature of the knowledge contained within. As our discussion unfolded, I realized that this man was more intellectually profound than his public image suggested. Yes, sometimes you need to go closer to understand these guys. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he pursued his goals with a level of strategic precision that could at times lead to devastating outcomes. These guys are serious about power game. If you are just an analyst on radio, you have to have a rethink. We have to meet these guys at the point where they operate, beyond analysis. Because they are deeply ingrained in the system, and they are carried away. It struck me that underestimating the intellectual depth of individuals like him is a mistake, a form of folly that blinds us to the realities of their influence. Hey, he is deeply versed in the mechanics of power. He invited me to consult me to pick my brain, but I ended up picking his brain while he picked mine. You pick my brain, I pick your brain. It's about brain picking. You see, these guys are deeply versed in the mechanics of power, a trait that likely explains why he and others like him remain firmly in control of Nigeria's politics. They are not joking. They have think tanks around them, men thinking for them. And obviously, he wants to attract me into that think tank. He had sought my perspective to address a pressing issue about the future, one that, as he admitted, had been robbing him of sleep. Why the specifics of our conversation remain private? I'm sharing this anecdote because it connects to one of the books we referenced during our discussion, and that book is The Prince by Machiavelli. I'll tell you more. Among his vast collection, I noticed this book prominently displayed, a testament to its enduring relevance to those who contemplate the nature and use of power. My encounter with him reaffirmed the timelessness of Machiavelli's insights, compelling me to revisit the book with fresh eyes and a deeper understanding of its application in contemporary Nigerian politics. I don't like showing off the book. I have about 3 editions of the book. I've always kept the book. I've always kept it. And somehow, like he hid it in that shelf, I've always hidden mine somewhere in the inner drawer. You can never find it on my own shelf. So it just struck me. I said, why? Why do you hide it? And I said, okay, no. Instead of hiding it, let me bring it to the public view. Let's talk about this book. There were other esoteric books I saw. Some of them that I have. But many of them I don't have. Because many of them are out of stock. They are now archival materials. You pay to special libraries to get them. So these guys are not joking when it comes to power. But power for what? No, Tosin, you're not going to take a picture of the book. Okay? Tosin is getting ready to take a picture. No, I'm not going to show you, Ayo. Just leave it there. Ayo wants me to raise the book. It's on the table here. Because I'm very careful about the book. Because it is open to misinterpretation. It is Machiavellian. I want to read from the book. I have the Penguin Classic. It's not a secret book. It's a book you can find if you want it. It's in bookstores, but people tend to ignore it. So I have it here. I'm going to read from it. But before I read from it, there's another powerful book that I think you should read. It's in the public domain. If you are interested in the game of power. Power is not given a la carte. It's not all this argument we are arguing. No. It's a struggle. Power is not given a la carte. And just sit down there, oh, we want a good president. It's not. It's a struggle. People are ready to die. People are killing to have power. People are having sleepless nights to have power. Have you asked why politicians are always gathering at night? Let me introduce you to this one. The Laws of Human Nature. The Laws of Human Nature. This is the original copy. It's not pirated. And you have a lot of pirated copies. But for those who want original copies of the book, you can contact me. Not the pirated. Pirated is also good. But when you pirate somebody's book, what happens to the person? But some people say that the poor cannot afford books, but pirated copies. I just imagine if I release my book now, you begin to pirate them. So the years of work are gone. So somebody just wakes up, pirate them, and make the money off me. So The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene is a book of power. You are about to become an apprentice in human nature. The laws will work to transform you into a calmer and more strategic observer of people, helping to free you from all the emotional drama that needlessly drains you. If you have the opportunity to sit with the governor of your state, Seyi Makinde, you will see this law in action in his personality. Ask those who have had the opportunity to sit down with Seyi Makinde privately. You will see this first law in Seyi Makinde's actions. And I will not be surprised if he has this book in one locker somewhere. The laws will work to transform you into a calmer and more strategic observer of people, helping to free you from all the emotional drama that needlessly drains you. You know Tinubu is calm. I'm trying to research. I want to know the books Tinubu is reading. I have done some research. I know some of his thinkers, those who think for him. And they've been around. But I've not been able to lay my hands on the books he is reading. So if I have the opportunity to see Tinubu, the first question I want to ask him, I say, what are the books you are reading? Because I have been told that he reads. That he has a lot of quiet times for reflection. I have been told that. But I'm asking them to give me copies of the books he reads. That I was interviewing somebody recently, a private talk. We were talking about power in Abuja. So he was telling me about his encounter with Tinubu. And he made a statement that wowed me. Well, let me leave that for now. So the book I'm introducing to you this morning is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Robert Greene is the author of the 48 Laws of Power. The second law about human nature, the laws will make you a master interpreter of the cues that people continually emit, giving you a much greater ability to judge their character. If you read this book, you will be empowered to take on and outthink the toxic types who inevitably cross your path. The laws in this book will teach you the true levers for motivating and influencing people. So when we talk about power, it's not just about politics. Tony Elumelu is a man of power. Get that point. So when we talk about power, Tony Elumelu is more powerful than some governors in Nigeria. I hope you know. It's more influential than some governors in Nigeria. Tony Elumelu can keep some governors waiting. They want to see him. He will keep them waiting. You know, politicians enjoy keeping people waiting. They use it to show power sometimes. They keep you waiting. Aliko Dangote is a man of power. There's a book I'm reading, The 50 Billionaires in Africa, written by Forbes. I was researching into how they become billionaires and how they use money as a tool for political power. If you can get that book, find it and read it. So I'm talking about Niccolo Machiavelli, the prince. The Laws of Human Nature, you can find it on udarabooks.com, original copies. On udarabooks.com, you can also contact me on my WhatsApp number. You can order it through my WhatsApp number, 080 18449. 080 18449. So let's read from the book The Prince. I want to read about 10 lines. It says, when states newly acquired, as I said, have been accustomed to living freely under their own laws, there are 3 ways to hold them securely. It's telling you how to capture a state as a leader. He said one way to keep that state going, for you to be in charge, is for you to devastate the people. Are you getting it? So when you see that the leadership intentionally refuse to build schools, healthcare, it's a form of devastating the people. It's a game of power for them to remain relevant. So Niccolo Machiavelli also said that another way to keep power is by going and living there in person. I will explain that as we go. He said the third means is by letting them keep their own laws, exerting tribute, and setting up an oligarchy which will keep the state friendly to you, the leader or the godfather, as the case may be. So it says in the last case, the government will know that it cannot endure without the friendship and power of the prince who created it. And so, it has to exert itself to maintain his authority. Don't worry, I'm going to explain. Because these are old books written in the 15th century, so the English is not straight. You know, some would say Shakespearean English. So the author continues, a city used to freedom can be more easily ruled through its own citizens, provided you do not wish to destroy it than in any other way. Examples are provided by the Spartans and the Romans. The Spartans ruled Athens and Thebes through the oligarchies they established there, although in the end they lost those territories. The Romans, in order to hold Capua, Carthage, and Numantia, destroyed them and so never lost them. They wanted to rule Greece almost as the Spartans did, freely under its own laws, but they did not succeed. So in order to maintain their power, they were constrained to destroy many cities in that province. So let me explain. Applying the argument in The Prince to Nigeria, where oppressive leadership and systemic corruption have stifled innovation, unleashed poverty, and created a cycle of violence, parallels can be drawn with Machiavelli's principles on governance and subjugation of states. Nigeria's current challenges, particularly in its governance structure and socio-political dynamics, reflect the outcomes of a state poorly managed after being acquired in a Machiavelli's term. In Machiavelli's framework, one way to hold a newly acquired state is by devastating it. In Nigeria, devastation manifests not as outright destruction, but through systemic oppression, corruption, and mismanagement of resources. The government's inability or unwillingness to address poverty, unemployment, and insecurity has devastated the populace's ability to do well, therefore leaving citizens disempowered and dependent on the state or oligarchic structures for survival. This devastation ensures that the majority remain focused on survival rather than on resistance or rebellion. It also limits the potential for innovation and economic growth, which could empower citizens to challenge the ruling class. Wole Soyinka, having a clear understanding of this, looks at Nigeria's state and defines it in his own words.
Who are the gangbangers of the nation's future? We know them. They are defined. We know the militant. And there are others. The others, however, very often lack immediate identification. But they're especially dangerous. But we know them. So do you all. They are the ones who, even while claiming to defend the rights and entitlements of their constituencies, do little more than defend the rights and entitlements of their privileged existence. They are the generator contractors in whose interest it is that the national electric system never works. They are the minority who conspire to run down the health system of this nation, since they can then divert its allocation to their own and their family's excursion to Wiesbaden for annual checks and fly to New York to cure the toothache. They are the ones who systematically destroyed the educational system, which we took for granted throughout our own past, that has engendered this present.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Who are the gangbangers of the nation's future? We know them. They are defined. We know the militant. And there are others. The others, however, very often lack immediate identification. But they're especially dangerous. But we know them. So do you all. They are the ones who, even while claiming to defend the rights and entitlements of their constituencies, do little more than defend the rights and entitlements of their privileged existence. They are the generator contractors in whose interest it is that the national electric system never works. They are the minority who conspire to run down the health system of this nation, since they can then divert its allocation to their own and their family's excursion to Wiesbaden for annual checks and fly to New York to cure the toothache. They are the ones who systematically destroyed the educational system, which we took for granted throughout our own past, that has engendered this present.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, Shoinka has explained it. That is when the political class get power through devastation. That is one explanation. I have broken down my notes into 4 explanations of that Machiavellian trait in the leadership. Shoaib Olonishola Aziz is on X. He says, I have missed classes for so long, but I'm in class today. Hopefully, I'll finish today's class. You have to finish it, because I'm going to reveal a lot as we go. So come tell me, how do you feel? Respond, feedback. Come on X. And as you come, invite somebody to come along. And as you come along, you can also repost. You can also decide to be silent. I also appreciate your silence. Ace Baba is on X. He says, good morning, radio man. Your voice always gives me joy. I am present in class too. Thank you, Ace Baba on X. Seno Hamid Humble on X says, well done, Mr. Obilo. I'm a silent listener. I've always wanted to listen, not to talk. Okay, I think I've read that message before. Emperor of Okyogun. Emperor of Okyogun? Emperor. Ho. Says, good morning, teacher. Please point me to where I can get Dele Farotimi's book. Afe Babalola has made the book a bestseller. I hope Dele Farotimi printed enough copies. Dele Farotimi. There is something about him. Okay, I know many bookstores have run out of copies. I had some copies at some point. So just look for bookstores, you can find copies. Shoaib Oloni Shola Aziz says, I've also been your follower since the days of Sport Bang. Yes, Sport Bang with a sport horse on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station, when I used to be the sport horse. Olakayode on X, thank you. Israel on X, thank you. AB Construction, good morning to you. Hey, it is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay cool, don't go away.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
It's time to talk politics, history, and power again. This time, we are driving the story through the narrative of Chief Chuks Ilebunam. It's about Ironsi. It's about the January 15th, 1966 coup. What about the counter coup of July 1966? Who killed Ironsi? Why was he killed? The Igbos went to war. It's also about the Igbo question. Chief Chuks Ilebunam, it's good to have you on State Affairs.
Thank you very much.
Chuks Ilebunam is the author of the book, Ironsi, Nigeria, the Army, Power, and Politics. Let's talk about your book.
Of course.
In the preface of the work, you quoted Major General M.C. Ali. Ali says the January 15th, 1966 coup was staged to preempt a Northern People's Congress inspired coup. Why did you quote this section?
Yes, because in 1966, after the first coup took place, the organizers and perpetrators of the coup said it happened to preempt a northern coup that was coming. Nobody believed the story at that time. So when we have somebody like Major General M.C. Ali validating that story, and then we also have Mr. Trevor Clark, a colonial officer, British colonial officer, validating the story again, it makes it beyond, it puts it beyond question that it is the truth. That there was a coup planned by the NPC government called Operation No Mercy. It was to happen days before the January 15, 1966 coup. That's why I quoted the two gentlemen there. There isn't any doubt about the veracity of that story.
So what you call a northern planned coup can also be defined as the Hausa Fulani coup.
In the days when that event happened, you didn't really have that conjoined name of Hausa Fulani. They made mostly Hausa, but you can call it Fulani coup, not Hausa coup. Sarana Sokoto was Fulani. He was the person in charge of the government, not the prime minister, who was Hausa. Balewa was not in charge, it was Sadauna. So it was a Fulani thing. They were the people controlling the army.
So Ilebunam is using his book to validate the notion that there was a planned coup to be carried out by Fulani officers before Nzogo and co struck.
Yes.
Let's look at what Ali said. You quoted him, and it reads, the 15th January 1966 coup was staged to preempt a Northern People's Congress-inspired coup known as Operation No Mercy, designed to eliminate the critics of Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa. Earlier, the opposition leader, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was in 1962 rusticated and incarcerated for masterminding a civilian coup for what has been claimed were trumped-up charges. In a bid to assert our authority and deal severely with miscreants, Colonel Zachary May Malari was to lead the Northern group of officers to restore the dignity of the Northern-led federal government. May Malari here, you remember in Congo, he did not take orders from Agui Ironsi.
Yes, I remember that.
And here he is mentioned to be the one to lead the coup to restore the dignity of the North. How do you explain that?
I think it's just a connection between the reality as exposed to Nigerians and the mindset of the northern power brokers. They have a sense of entitlement. Everything must go the way they want, otherwise they will counter it or thwart it. If it wasn't for that reason, there was no way a major in the person of Memelari will disobey his superior officer, Lieutenant Colonel Ironsi, who at that time even had UN promotion rank of general. See what I mean? But he disobeyed because he had a sense of entitlement. And Ironsi ordered him back to Nigeria, and he left. If it were some other person, back in Nigeria, he would face further sanctions.
Why did Ironsi push for further sanctions?
There are two reasons for that. One is that Ironsi wasn't as foolish as most people thought. You took actions in terms of anticipated reactions. Ironsi would have asked himself what to gain if he came back home and continued to pursue that point. That's the main reason. What would he gain? And then there's a second answer to that. This guy is constituting an obstacle to me. I remove him, problem solved. And then he continued with what he was doing.
And this same guy was to lead a coup.
Yes, he was.
No, now we are looking at counterfactual. There was no northern coup. We are only making this argument on points of conjectures. There was no coup. But if there was a northern coup, do you think May Malari would have spared Ironsi?
Well, I do many things, but I never claimed to be a prophet. I never claimed to read the minds of people, what they would have done 4 decades or 5 decades ago. But given the sense of impunity that existed among certain sections of the society, and given what happened during the counter coup, I do not think that the man would have spared Ironsi for 1 millisecond.
Now, this question of a northern coup, let's probe it further. I remember Akintola visiting the Saudana.
Yes.
A day before the January 15th coup. He was in the north. You find that argument in Femi Kende's book, Ladoke Akintola and the Eye of History. So by January 14th, Saudana and co had the premonition that there would be a coup. So do you believe if they were planning a coup and they knew there was going to be a coup, they should have acted, but yet they refused to act?
At that point in time, what Akintola and Ahmadu Bello had couldn't be described as premonition. They knew that a military action was possible because they had been told Even Ironsi himself traveled to Bauchi to go and see the Prime Minister who was on leave to say, look, this is what I'm hearing. It's in this book. These young officers are trying to move. He didn't believe the story, but many other sources mentioned to them that there was this likelihood of the young officers striking. So it wasn't a question of premonition.
So why did you think they did not act to prevent the coup?
Yes, there's an explanation. Ahmadu Bello was known to have said that if you pointed a gun at him and pressed the trigger, if Allah said he won't die, the bullet will not strike him. So there was that sense of submission to the ultimate will of God, that nothing happened unless the Almighty sanctioned it. I don't think he believed that it was possible for that action to take place.
And the action took place?
It did take place, yes.
It was a bloody action?
Yes, it was.
Very bloody?
Yes.
Should it have been that bloody?
Well, I can't place any premium on bloody comparisons because I'm not a man of violence, So you couldn't say, should it have been that bloody? What amount of blood is enough? That's one question you have to ask yourself. Secondly, what's the purpose of a revolution? What's the possibility of making an omelette without breaking an egg? You could ask yourself all those questions. But it did happen, and it was bloody.
It was bloody. The Premier of the Western region taken out. Premier of the Northern region taken out. The Prime Minister, Tafawa Balewa, taken out. Michael Okpara left standing. Was it an Igbo coup?
No, it was not an Igbo coup. It was not. And the answer is self-evident. Among the majors that carried out that coup, a principal actor was Major Adewale Ademoyega, a graduate of history from the University of London. He was one of the ideological foundations of that action. He and Major Emmanuel Ifajuna, who also was a graduate who read sciences at the University of Ibadan. They were the ideological bastions of that action. So you couldn't have an Igbo coup where one of the leaders was a Yoruba man.
One of the leaders out of many Igbo officers.
Not out of many Igbo officers, out of 5 officers. They are known, Ifajuna, Major Nzogu, Major Okafor, Major, what's his name? This guy who was killed in the counter coup. So about 5 majors, and you had that Major Adewale, and you had lieutenants who were of other ethnic groups, including.
We have deliberated on the feedback received as we went around all the geopolitical zones and asked for input from stakeholders into the 2025 budget. So today, I stand before you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable members of this House to present the Oyo State 2025 Budget of Stabilization. The goal of this budget is to consolidate the economic gains we engineered through the 2024 Budget of Economic Recovery and translate them into more tangible benefits for our people. It has always been the goal of this administration to ensure that every kobo approved by this House is used to drive sustainable development in Oyo State. So the Oyo State 2025 appropriation bill is not going to be any different. we are even more determined to ensure that our people get more benefits from the implementation of this budget.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Olanikbekun Richard is on X. He says, "Good morning, Radio Man. The class is instilling many things into my consciousness. Well done, sir." That is Olanikbekun. Are you on X? Have you reposted? Have you left a comment? I want to read your comment. Have you invited somebody to join the class? Holiness Ifeoluwa is on X. He says, "The Radio Man, good morning to you. I'm Taiwo Holiness. I am a young bird. It's been a long time since I attended the State Affairs class on Splash. I am hesitant to be in attendance today. I have always enjoyed the bangs of the program. Holiness, are you holy? Please remain holy." Abeza Chasobina is on X. He says, "Every object and actions has a specific purpose for which exists. When this purpose is thwarted, what follows is usually an abuse. Power is not for self-gratification, but for the well-being of the society or the institution it directs." Oladele Idowu Joseph is on X. He says, "Good morning, Radio Man. You know I've always been in the class, come whatever may, and today is not an exception. Accept my sympathy and concern about your stolen social media platforms. I pray you recover them as quickly as possible. God be with you, my friend." Thank you, my friend. I've always appreciated your presence in class. You are a star. Are you in class? Let me see you. Say something. Dr. Olaito Johnson is in class. He says, "There had never been your class I haven't enjoyed since 2040 did. I wish some of your classes on Rwanda War, Ururi in the Village Square drama piece, Sport Bank, and Economic Searchlight could be reposted. These programs are key to me." It's like you are thinking like me. You know, I've gone to bring out all the scripts. In the last 2 weeks, I've been gathering all my scripts from 2007. All the sport news I did, you know, I scripted everything. And I'm going to reenact all of them gradually. Just watch out. Just be following me on social media. Village Square is coming back. It's going to be sweet. So we have arranged all the scripts. We're going to produce them again with good sounds. For now, I've lost control of my YouTube page because I'm going to put them on YouTube. If after 2 weeks I don't get control, I'm going to open a new YouTube channel. And if you have subscribed to my channel before, you can go back then and subscribe. And then we'll unleash Village Square. But this time, it will be tingling. Look at this. Politics has dashed hopes in Nigeria. Have you seen this book? Politics has dashed hopes in Nigeria. Politics has dashed hopes in Nigeria. This is the book of the day. We just uploaded the book on udarabooks.com. Politics has dashed hopes in Nigeria. Written by Professor Anwalu Anwar. It's a big book, as you can see, big book. But if you read this book, you will see the Machiavellian traits of Nigerian leaders. This professor experienced it firsthand, and he did a very good research work in this book. I recommend this book to you, Politics as Dashed Hopes in Nigeria, by Professor Anwanlu Anwar. Order your copy on udarabooks.com, udarabooks.com, or through my WhatsApp number 080-999-18449. That's my WhatsApp number, 080-999-18449. I'm not rushing the class, but what I'm doing here is that I'm using voices from the past to remind us of the game of power, a game that often grants unbridled impulses to the state. It is a game that begins with the ambition to acquire power, perhaps inspired by noble intentions for societal improvement. Yet, due to the inherent nature of humanity and the social structures that we inherit, power frequently morphs into an engine for self-aggrandizement. This has become deeply ingrained in our political culture, a circle where ideas give way to ambition and ambition to self-interest. Abiola Ajimobi served as the governor of Oyo State from 2011 to 2019 under the banner of the Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN. His rise was part of a larger political transformation. The ACN merged with the All Nigerian People's Party, ANPP, and the Congress of Progressive Change, CPC, to form the All Progressives Congress, APC. Factions of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Rotimi Amechi, and the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, led by Rochas Okorocha, also joined this coalition, marking a significant realignment of political forces in Nigeria. Ajimobi succeeded Alao Akala, who governed Oyo State from 2007 to 2011 under the PDP. Why their politics bore different colorations, Ajimobi appearing more refined and Akala more raw, their shared drive to acquire power by nearly all means created a striking convergence. In this convergence, one finds a lesson. The outward trappings of refinement or crudeness are often irrelevant when the singular obsession with power is the common denominator. Let me remind you of Akala. He speaks as he goes.
I build by those things that were making people happy when we were in government.
What were those things that made people happy?
You see, in politics, you would like to be above your opponent. And when I start talking much about my plan for the people, when we have not started debate, I'm letting my secretary out of the bag.
No, it's not just the plans now. You said you've done these things before.
A lot of things
So
before.
we want to know what were those things that made people happy.
A lot of things I've done before, because I allow people to have access to money.
Yes, that is an issue. Because you go to town, they say Alao Akala is ATM machine. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I've heard some people calling me ATM.
Yes,
Even
why should they call you ATM?
Because there was money in town when I was there.
How did you put the money in town?
How did I put the money in town?
Yeah.
Because I localized my economy.
Some said you could carry Ghana Must Go and go to a party and share the money.
No, you don't share. I don't share money. Let me give you an example. Children, you have bought a new phone, and his colleagues saw it. Oh boy, this is your phone, nice. So when did you get this new phone? He said it's cost of Akala. Where did you know? Where did you know Akala? He said no. It wasn't Akala that gave it to me directly. But my dad worked for the government, and the government paid him. So I just went to him and asked that, Daddy, I needed another phone, and he quickly gave me money. So if Akala had not paid my father that money, my father wouldn't have been able to give me money.
So you're saying you employed a lot of local contractors?
Local content. I will localize everything. And
everything?
Yes. Everything. Unless where we cannot get expertise within our state.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, that interview was in 2012 after he left power. How time flies. I can still see us sitting in his study, reminiscing on power. Yes, he has a study, or he had a study. This man study power. Why most of the activists only come on radio and talk. That is why they don't get power. Or they get angry and they demonstrate one night and go back. I am making the point now clear that the power game is beyond demonstrations and protest. Those who want power must learn to organize and mobilize. That is the game of power. Tinubu will not give you power because you say Tinubu go. You take it from him. And to take it from him is a struggle. It's a struggle. Coming on radio is part of it, critique. But the most critical part of it is organizing, mobilizing. In that case, you need some money. So where would the money come from? You must begin to think. Revolutions are triggered. You want to know how? It is politics and power on State Affairs. The radio man is here. Look at this. It is worth noting that Alao Akala has landed. He now rests in the great beyond. May his soul rest in peace. Yet, Akala's political journey offers enduring lessons for today's and tomorrow's power brokers. You see, when a falcon soars in the sky, its next move is often unpredictable. Watch a falcon. And when they sway, even an eagle. Falcons are focused, but sometimes drift before finding a place to land. At certain points in his political career, Alao Akala was like a falcon, restless and meandering. He navigated the chaotic Nigerian political landscape, moving from one party to another in a desperate mission to grab power. At one point, Akala turned in one direction. At another, he shifted again. The next moment, he made a U-turn. Each of these turns reminded me of Margaret Thatcher, the lady that is not for turning.
If it isn't, we shall not be diverted from our course. To those waiting with bated breath for that favourite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning. If it isn't, we shall not be diverted from our course. To those waiting with bated breath for that favourite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister of Britain, a woman of power. Do you want to attend my class of politics and power? This time you will be in my classroom, not on radio. Radio is one of my classrooms. So I'm inviting 8 persons to my classroom, physical classroom of politics and power. If you are interested, just indicate on X. I might not be able to bring up. I have 8 chairs. I have arranged 8 chairs. There's a subject. I want to treat 4 topics. So I'm starting with the first. So I'll pick the first 8. You know, you're not paying anything for it. But remember, as you are coming to the class, I'm also picking your brain. You pick my brain, I pick yours. Yes, at last, my physical class of politics and power has started. So just indicate on X. And you can tell me what you do. In fact, come into the inbox. Put your message in the inbox. Tell me your name, what you do, and your phone number, so that we can put a call to you and invite you for the class. Let's talk power. I will go beyond what I say on radio. It is time to build the future. Understanding the game of power, so that we can save the Nigerian state. What are the lessons to learn? You remember I'm writing a work, The Science of Shame in this Politics. It will be like, it's a book like The Prince, but this time it's not acidic. The Prince is tough. Okay? Politics and power. That was Margaret Thatcher. I have about 12 books on Margaret Thatcher, how she attained power. I love her. She reminds me of Golda Meir. Remember Golda Meir? The only woman that has governed Israel. The woman that almost bombed Arab nations to submission. Golda Meir is the first Iron Lady, not Margaret Thatcher. She is the first Iron Lady. Go and read about Golda. When women attain power, you need to read about them. But Alao Akala was no Thatcher. Akala's unpredictability was a reflection of the moral ambiguity that defined many power seekers in Nigeria's polity. This narrative serves as a mirror reflecting how the pursuit of power often deviates from noble ideals to pragmatic survival. Power, in its rawest form, becomes a commodity to be acquired, consolidated, and exploited, often with little regard for the moral cost. In 2011, in Oyo State, Alao Akala was Teslim Folani's nemesis. In 2015, in Oyo State, Teslim Folani was Akala's nemesis. You do me, I do you. Akala did him in 2011. In 2015, he did Akala. You do me, I do you. What is the consequences of such politics? You see, this is where Teslim Folani comes in. Let me tell you the story. Brief. Teslim forced Akala out of the PDP, having received the nod of the national leadership of the party to become the gubernatorial candidate of the party in 2015. That was when Folari perfected his politics of Jagbaism. See, Jagbaism is a concept worth studying for anyone interested in power. And one of the lessons I'm going to teach in my physical class of politics is Jagbaism. I have finished the note, and you will see how Jagbaism can be employed as a tool for positive power acquisition. The game is on. Having interviewed Folani again and again, having had several private sessions with him, having studied him over the last 15 years, feel free to consult me on Folani's politics of power. Folani must be cooking another devastating move already, having failed to win the last gubernatorial contest in Oyo State. But what is Sheyi Makinde cooking? Now let's leave Sheyi out of this discourse for now. I'll bring him in at some point. I'll tell you something. But just watch out for him. Something is going on in his mind. He's not speaking, but I can see it. In 2014, Folani took the keys of the PDP in Oyo State and locked Akala out. Akala, who was the landlord, found himself in the rain. In this interview with Rashid Ladoja in 2014, the former governor gives insight on how Folani made his move on Akala. Let me bring you back to the PDP. Is it true that the likes of Folani don't want you there?
I don't know, and I don't think that they don't want me. I think they want me to boost their own image. Because Folani came to see me in London.
And told you?
And told me that, okay, we're expecting you in PDP. I said, yes, we're expecting me in PDP. But when we tried to join PDP, you change the names in Abuja of members of the board and local government executive.
So he really did?
So he said, yeah, he said that, but you know, in PDP, we hijack and Aman Jagbani. If you don't know what it means, we hijack things. I said, well, in accord, we don't jagba. We don't hijack. We allow people's will to prevail. I said, now that you have hijacked it, how will you feel if the party now says that they want to carry out a sane harmonization? He said, we will go to court. He said, because Oyo State is not one of the 10 states where they said that the congresses were not conclusive. And that in any case, the party has recognized our congresses, they have recognized our chairman, and has been attending the NEC meeting. So if they try to tamper with it, we will go to court. And as I told you, I don't want to turn Oyo State to another Ogun State. whereby we will be going to court. It doesn't pay. It will just cloud your thinking, and you will not be able to carry out the normal mobilization, and it will not serve the purpose of the people of Oyo State.
Fulani wants you in PDP, but does not want you to control the party.
I don't know. I didn't want to control the party neither, because I didn't say that I'm coming to PDP to control the party. When they talked to us, I said, okay, if you want to join, if you want us to join, yes, the terms will be where we won the election, we will be the chairman. Where you won, we will be the chairman, and we were going to share the executive in accordance to our strength.
And he betrayed that trust.
He said he was not a party to that discussion, which was true.
Who did you have your discussions with? Akala?
Well, they had what they call elders committee. When I met them, and I said, look, these are the terms, and we discussed, and we negotiated, and we agreed, and we put it in a sort of a booklet.
How come Fulani was able to hijack that arrangement?
That's my own arrangement. That's my own. I was not in PDP. I was not in PDP, and I think that it's God that doesn't want me in PDP anyway.
Should we say now that Fulani became very smart and decided to give it to Akala?
You see, the problem that I have is that I am a straightforward person. We fight today, tomorrow we are friends. That is me. Because
you think Fulani is not like that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what transpired between them.
Into his hand?
No. You see, later on, when eventually I met Akala, when they came to see me, when Fulani and Co came to see me, while they were persuading me to join PDP, they told me, Agba Akala ni. You know the meaning of Agba Akala ni? Agba Akala means we dipped him. And Akala came to see me here, in this farm. And I said, Akala, do you know what Fulani told me? He said, what? I said, he told me, I'm Agba Oni. And he said, yes, I have realized that. So are you now expecting me to also go to a place between the Magba and me now? You expect me to go to where they were also going to dupe me? Akala told me that they provided 30 million naira to hijack the party. So where is the money that I want to spend to hijack the party? How will it add to winning an election in Oyo State?
Do you think Akala is finished politically?
No, I don't think so.
Has Akala ever told you that he wants to run for the Senate seat?
No,
in
we
2015?
We have not discussed to that level.
Are you very close to Akala now?
What do you mean by I'm close? What is very close? Akala, I told you that he came here. He came to my house. I've been to his house. So what is our problem? You see, in my mind, politics is an issue that we should see as being able to be in a society that will lead to winning an election.
No permanent friend, no permanent enemy?
No, definitely.
So today, Akala Ladoja are friends.
We are not. We have never at any time been enemies. I've never seen Akala as my enemy at any time. I've told you that I don't have enemies. I don't.
Do you still want to be governor?
That is left in the hands of God. You know, it was not my wish to even contest in 2011.
What happened?
What happened was that Akala believed that taking me to EFCC will stop me from contesting. So I said, okay, if that is the case, then let us go ahead. So, and everybody agreed at that time that Akala must go.
And you wanted him out?
And I wanted him out.
And you succeeded in pushing him out?
By the grace of God. Because
it
was not because of what happened to me. It was because he was not giving a government to my satisfaction.
You felt he didn't perform?
He did not live up to my expectation.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know why I was quoting him that way about Akala? You know, Ladoja was impeached. Akala was Ladoja's deputy. And Ladoja was impeached. And from investigation, it seems Akala enjoyed the impeachment because he became governor. And that caused that division between him and his boss, Ladoja. So when he was telling me that Akala is his friend, that he holds no grudge against Akala, I was still probing. Are you sure? This was the guy, perhaps, who benefited from your impeachment. But again, that's politics. Ladoja can be a liberal and can also be stubborn. How, you would say? Akala took Teslim Folani for granted in 2014. Until Folani proved what he can do, Akala did not believe it. So, he edged Akala out of the PDP. Like falcons in flight, power brokers are often restless and unpredictable. They are driven by ambition rather than principles. Their actions create instability, underscoring the need for leaders who prioritize service over personal ambition. Before I take a cup of water, I want us to listen to Folani. Here, Folani talks about Ladoja. Ladoja has just talked about Folani and Akala. But in this 2014 interview, Folani talks about Ladoja. Can you tell us what happened during one of the reconciliation meetings that was supposed to hold in the house of Senator Lekan Balogun?
I wasn't there. You'll have to speak to Senator Balogun.
The meeting did not hold eventually there.
You'll have to speak to him. I don't know.
And everybody then moved to the house of Akala.
I wasn't part of it.
Where were you then?
I was in Abuja.
But you knew about the meeting?
I didn't agree with the meeting.
Why didn't you agree with the meeting?
I didn't agree with the meeting for a simple reason. We had just finished our Congress, okay? And then there was the issue of Senator Ladoja coming into PDP. And then there were some aggrieved people. So I just felt, look, we were taking on too much at the same time. If we want to talk with aggrieved people, let us talk. I'm also aggrieved. Let us sit and talk. But there's no point aggrieved people now coming in with Senator Ladoja in accord. It didn't make sense to me.
Do you want Ladoja to join the PDP?
Absolutely, yes. Why not?
They say you don't want him to join the PDP.
That is what my detractors will say. Why wouldn't I want him to join PDP?
Because you were scared if he joined the PDP, you will not get the governorship ticket.
We're not talking about governorship ticket here. And how would it stop me if I want to pick up the ticket?
You said he's more popular. He has been tested. You have not been tested.
Governor Ladoja and I are not on the same level politically.
He's on a higher level?
Absolutely, yes, he is, yeah.
And you will be ready to give him the ticket if he finally emerges as a member of the PDP.
Does he want to be governor?
Let's assume he wants to be governor.
I don't work on assumptions. I don't work on assumptions.
Would you step down for Ladoja?
No, I won't step down for anybody if I want to contest. When I do take that decision, and which I will take next year, I won't step down for anybody, no.
So you are openly in agreement with the idea of Ladoja joining the PDP?
Listen. Ladoja, who is my Oga, alongside my other Ogas like Senator Balogun, Chief Adeojo, Chief Oyelese, we were all fighting for the same thing, which is for the ex-governor to give us a bit of space to operate, okay? Now, he went to a court. It didn't work out. Well, at the end of the day, he didn't win the election. He wanted to be governor. He didn't win.
Well, he made a point.
The point was for him to win the election. He didn't win. He didn't win the election.
He's a force to be reckoned with today.
Without any doubt. Alongside other people too.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Folani said when he's ready to go for the governorship ticket, nobody can stop him. And nobody was able to stop him. He got PDP ticket in 2015. They could not stop him. As we speak, Fulani is a huge factor in Oyo State politics. After Makinde, it is Fulani. Will you be surprised to see Makinde and Fulani go into alliance? Will you be surprised? Will the APC unravel? Certainly Tinubu will hijack it. Tinubu will determine what happens in APC. Will they scheme Fulani out? Did Tinubu support Fulani in the last election? Is Fulani angry with Tinubu? Does Tinubu like Fulani? Okay. Many questions that I cannot answer. But at this point, just stay cool, okay? Stay cool. Just cool down. More to come. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM.
Something of a mother to because he was much older, you know. The sister was the one who was married to the Sierra Leonean, and they lived in Kanu. The one was an officer, a civil servant.
And the Rossi joined the army in Kanu?
Yes, he did, in Kanu.
And the sister protested?
The sister said, no, you couldn't go and join the army when we are finding you a job at the UAC. And he said, well, I've already registered and enlisted and I've got my number, so it can't be changed again.
Ironsi was from Umuahia?
Yes, he was. Umuana Ndume in Umuahia Ibegu.
I want you to interrogate this part of Ironsi's life. Before he took over, there was Nwafo Orizu, who was in charge after Balewa was killed. Nwafo Orizu was an Igbo man. At some point, members of the Northern People's Congress wanted a new leader, but Orizu would not take that. Can we say Orizu was more comfortable with an Igbo man taking over than giving power again to the North? Because he somewhat resisted every attempt to appoint an acting prime minister.
I don't know where you read those from. I'm not saying that those weren't written wherever. All I'm saying is that when Ironsi and his forces aggregated the politicians and had a meeting with them, it was already a fait accompli. A lot of them were in hiding. Those of them who were there, they signed the document handing over power to the military.
Did they sign under duress?
No, they did not.
Remember, a military officer was in that meeting.
Well, hold on. The way it happened, and I interviewed what's this man's name again? The first Northern SAN. The man came from Ilorin, but he grew up he was born in Onitsha, he grew up in Onitsha. So he spoke Igbo like any other person. That's why he went to school. What's his name now? Well, the man said Ironsi was addressing them. And they said we needed the authority to take over power because things, water don't pass Gary, things are spoiled. They were prepared to sign, and the man, Alhaji Abdul Razak, first Northern Nigerian senior advocate of Nigeria. And the man said, this thing cannot be a verbal thing, no. It's better that we write and sign one by one. There was no paper. He brought out paper there, and they wrote that document, and they all appended their signature to it. This is the truth of what happened.
Including Ozumba Mbadiwe?
Everybody who was there signed that signature.
Why was Mbadiwe so interested in how he looked? Because the way he rushed into that meeting without a cap.
No, it wasn't because you say, why was he so disinterested? Because the army troops come with their tires crunching on your hallway, and they come out, you are wanted at Parliament building. You'll be remembering your cap.
But remember, before even the army officers came, he was wasting time trying to dress up.
When they had come to him.
Before they even came.
Well, if he was wasting time trying to dress up, he would have remembered in his time wasting to pick his cap. Yes, it was this man who told me, Chief Adenro Gusonya, who told me the story. He was the person who went in to go and pick him up.
Yeah.
And he was laughing. He said that when they rushed the man forgot his cap. I remember that aspect of it.
Most people don't know about Mbadiwe. And there's a popular road in Lagos, Ozumba Mbadiwe Way.
Yes.
Even most Igbo young persons don't know much about him.
They don't know, no.
And when you mentioned him in the book, I smiled. But again, do you think the Igbo nation understand the power of history? Because it seems history is skewed against them.
You see, the Igbo people are a complex people. Answers to questions on them cannot be rendered with yeses and nos. You have to speak like lawyers on the one hand, on the other hand, before you get a proper answer that will be in perspective with the question thrown at you. The Igbo people have a sense of history. Otherwise, they will not be there. It is the history of their forefathers, their resilience, their hard work that made them to survive the Civil War with everything destroyed and with 20 pounds given to each of them, even if you had 20 million in the bank, and they bounced back. If you don't have a sense of purpose, a sense of history, which is a sense of you, a sense of history is a sense of you, your person. If they didn't have it, they couldn't have survived. So they do have it. Of course, you can talk about extraneous issues. Say, if Rochas Okorocha behaved the way he did as governor of Imo State, did he know of Igbo history? If you have people who are prepared to sell off the ethnic group for a plot of land in Abuja, do they know the history of their people? Those are valid questions to ask. But it's not the same thing as saying the people as a people, they have a sense of history.
Let's look at the fallout of the coups.
Yes.
It led to the Civil War.
Yes, it did.
Before the war, there was massive killing in northern region.
Yes.
Of persons of Igbo origin.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a pogrom?
Yes, it was genocidal. It was a genocide. I was in Kano. I lived in Kano then. In fact, I even lost my elder brother there. He had one of the best school certificate results in northern Nigeria, Igbo Union Grammar School. They killed him there at 18 years. You see what I mean? So it was genocide. You went killing people all over the place. And nobody has apologized for that up to next tomorrow.
Was the military part of the killing?
Oh, yes. I wrote it here in this book because General Danjuma became a later-day apologist, saying that under Buhari, the soldiers are attacking and killing people, and people should defend themselves. I reminded him in this book that that was what happened in 1966. Soldiers went to Southern Kano, they call it Operation Wipeout, and killed any Igbo person that they found there that night. They did it May 29, June 29, July 29, September 29, and those who were traveling on the road, they were seizing them and killing them. In fact, Gowan said it, it's quoted in this book. Gowan said the killings of the Igbo people have become unnecessary. It's in the book, he said it. That they should remember that after all, God in his infinite mercy has given back federal power to another northerner. Gowon said it, and Gowon is alive. Gowon, your man, if I can call him, Gowon was the person who said that the basis of unity did not exist in Nigeria.
How can Gowon be my man? I've not met him.
Okay, so Gowon said he may not be a man, as Irons is my man, but Gowon said that there wasn't basis for unity in Nigeria. When he discovered what he had done, he tried to deny it, and they rewrote other things. They forgot that there's something called BBC monitoring. Anything you say for radio or any part of the world, BBC will capture it. Even once you broadcast it, they have it. Then we went there and brought the original of his broadcast. It is still there. For a little fee, they will give it to you.
To God for the opportunity that He has given us to serve the good people of Oyo State. And I want to hear more of those well done. So if you haven't said well done for whatever we have done in your area, please say well done to.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
When I hear people say, well done, like a note that I received from Oluwaseun Adeomi, I always, when I hear people say, well done, I'm always thankful to God for the opportunity that He has given us to serve the good people of Oyo State. And I want to hear more of those well done. So if you haven't said well done for whatever we have done in your area, please say well done to.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
It's about politics and power. Let me take some calls. Keep your messages coming in on X. Are you on X? Are you interested in attending my physical class of politics and power? It is free. The first 4 editions are free classes. So when you come, you tell others. And we are going to grow that class into an institution for power. So if you are interested, you can come into my inbox on X. Tell me your name, what you do, and your phone number. Yes, we can't pick everybody because at the moment the class is for 8. I have 8 seats and I'm not expanding it. Yes, we have enough space. But let me start with that 8 seats. Then with time we'll increase it to 15 seats. But let's start with 8. 8 seats. Let's sit down, interact, talk about power and politics. Because we must save the land. And to save the land, you must be interested in politics. So call the radio station 070 694 930 00. The number is 070 694 930 00. Another number to call is 070 144 757 70. That is 070 144 757 70. The ball is in your court. And remember, hit the nail on the head as we are drawing closer to the end of the show. And you can leave your feedback on X. Let me see. Have you reposted? Have you invited somebody to the class? Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bilo.
Sadui Modagbe.
You know, my class is on focus now. At the beginning, I used to be active on Facebook. Once again, thank you on Saturday. But briefly, I want to look at the Jabba, smartness, and hijacking. Yes, it can be used in positive way, in form of people strategizing to take responsibility in taking part in politics to make a change. It's a very good one. I would like to be in your class. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Olainka Bamidele, I can see your message. Thank you for the good words. You said, please discuss tax reform bill extensively. I have given a breakdown of the tax reform bill on X. Just scroll down. You know, I cannot discuss all subjects. As they happen, I give you the breakdown. So if you scroll, engage the post there. I don't have to discuss it here. I have given you a breakdown of Tinubu tax reform bill. And let me say, I'm supporting that bill. Northern governors are crying because they are so used to free money. Free money. They not have been so used to free money. And many governors are so used to free money, they can't think. They can't think. Many of our governors can't think. It's just that free money. The North has the capacity to be one of the richest parts of Nigeria. But its leadership has over the years been afraid to think. Just free money. Any little thing, the North will suffer. The North will suffer. But the leadership of the North has failed the North. I'm in support of the bill, but we can build consensus. The National Assembly should build consensus. Public hearings will start. People should go. Let's discuss it. Let's also take cognizance of the reservation of some persons and let's build consensus. But I'm in support of the general principle of the bill. Yes, there are certain aspects of the bill I might not like, but I'm in support of the general principles. But leadership must be responsible for taxation to making part. That's the point. So know that I'm in support of that tax reform bill. But we must not rush it. Let's discuss it. Let's build consensus. So you can read my analysis of the tax reform bill on my X page. It's there. You can read Afebe Balola's petition against Farutimi. It's there. Just read. I'm giving you long articles on my pages. And you'll be seeing more of these articles explain what is going on in the country. So the lines are open. Let me hear from you. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to hear your voice once again.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking us to one of our previous meetings. I've been following you for almost 2 decades, the political class. As a student of your political class, more grace to your able, sir.
Thank you.
Regarding the Tinubu's bill, I'm in support of that bill as well. I was telling some of my colleagues in the office this week that that bill will not see the light of the day. The way, like it was the bill that was sponsored by the president. And I let them know and to let them realize the uniqueness of the Nigerian policy, especially the policy we play in this part of the world. Anything that will not favor the law will not see the light of the day. And that very day I said that, they silent that bill in the parliament. Radio man, more power to your level, sir.
Thank you. Okay, let me make the point. That bill has not been silenced. That bill has moved to the 3rd reading. But before that, there is public hearing, and the Senate has given 6 weeks. The bill has not been silenced. Yes, there is fierce opposition against the bill. That is why we must build consensus as a federal state. But I am in support of the general principles of the bill. But my fear is that the predating political class has the capacity to steal our taxes and impoverish us. That is why we must build conscious citizens that will resist them. Because they have, I don't know if to say that the leadership has gone mad. They can steal anything. That is why we must build conscious leadership to say nobody should steal 1 naira of our tax. Because enough is enough. But I am in support of the general principles of the bill. And we must listen to the North. Yes, we should listen to the North. And the Senate should continue the debate. Yes, the House of Reps is a bit lethargic when it comes to the debate. But let's see how things unfold. It's democracy. It's about number. Right? The lines are open.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Obilo.
Yes, good morning.
I'm also Badmus. Anytime I listen to your program, I always feel your pain, sincerely speaking. The rate at which you want Nigeria to develop. But sincerely speaking, as we have talked about it, is a very serious factor in politics. It now depends on the mind and the opinion of one to use it. Like I always say, we want that person that wants that power. If it's not, it is not going to be for the benefit of the people. You should not be able to have it. That's one. Two, this tax bill, I'm telling you, is one of those things that ever happened to us. If it is well explained, to let the people know the good content of it. But the fact that people have been used, some part of Nigeria have been used to use money. Now for them to go in productions and hit what they plant is not becoming difficult. So I think they need more orientation. And with that, I think it's going to stay true. I appreciate you every time. I'm one of the students in the class, but hardly can I talk. This is the first time I will talk in your program over the 10 years I've been listening. Thank you, Mr. Abudu. I wish you more success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The many silent listeners are beginning to talk. They are beginning to talk. Let's talk. Bosun? Bosun is there.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Edmond. Good morning.
I can hear you. Good morning.
Okay. This Mr. Kennedy, and you have said it all. We made our money through crude oil, billions of dollars. Even even the tax some payment cannot even go half of what you make from oil. But where is the money today? The money of oil, where is it today? In the hands of the riches, and the poor are here dying. So is that big money going to set this country free? They're still going to? You have said it all. But people at the grassroots have been clamoring, even here in the Badal, say, I want it to be implemented. I want it to be implemented. The one they have been people from the West here, are they getting copper from any government? Look at our country, how it is. Is it looking good? I don't know when they just want to add more pain to the masses. Because this money is not going to light. The way I'm looking at it. It's going to be in form of Yahoo. And Yahoo started from here where we are. This land where I am.
You are sounding hopeless. Are you saying we cannot check these guys, that they will continue to loot the money and will keep quiet?
Have you checked the people, those who are in charge of the oil that came from that region? Have they been checking it? Have they been checking it where we are in this mess?
I'm talking about you. Are you that powerless that you feel these guys will just run riot on everybody and get away with it?
Who is the guy?
You.
Look, there's no guy. There's no guy. Everything starts from the head.
You are not getting my point. What is your role in Nigerian state? Are you saying you are that powerless that anybody can just come and loot this country and none of us will be able to do anything?
So the one that have been doing. So what do you do? You that are speaking. What did you do about the oil money? That every state, every month they will just raise their hand to collect millions of naira going to every state, both those who are not producing. So is it going to be straight from the bill you are going to implement?
Okay. You have asked me what I am doing. I am speaking and we are working. I'm going to say that it's going to stop and it will stop. Watch out. We are not sleeping. These guys cannot continue to loot the Nigerian state. We must have responsible leadership. Enough is enough. It's going to take time, but we will organize to stop it. That is the point. Many of us are moving. You cannot have a profligate state like this and expect success. Taxation is normal in national development. And this Tinubu's tax bill is going to tax the rich more than the poor. I have a problem with the increment in VAT. But what goods are we going to pay VAT on? I think I'm going to write more on the bill. Because I have researched the bill, I agree in principle with the bill. Some of us are already paying excess taxes, and Tinubu is ready to say no. The poor should not pay tax. Tinubu is not going to tax the poor. That tax reform bill is not taxing the poor. He's saying the poor should not even pay a dime. That the rich should pay 25% of their wealth. But the fear is what that caller has just highlighted. Will they steal the money again? And remember, there's also resistance to this stealing. Get the point. You know, they were ransacking the oil wealth in the Niger Delta, and the militants rose up and said no. But what then happened is that you now created militants who also became thieves. But they are thieves. But whether you like it or not, there has been some level of redistribution of income in the Niger Delta. The militants are getting their share. The shares that were being stolen by the political leaders, but now militants have their share. You have Tompolo. You even have Asari Dokubo. You see how that Asari Dokubo talks as if he's the president. It's because of all money that is also getting into his pocket. So the boys are getting their share. But it is not organized sharing. It's not organized redistribution of wealth. So as they get their own money, they use it to perpetrate themselves in power. And the region suffers. If you go to Borno, the bandits you have in the north, it's a form of resistance. Don't get it wrong. It's a form of resistance. Poverty led them into war. So what you have is gun resistance taking place. And soon, from gun resistance, you are going to have what you call a mass movement. That is why I'm going to continue with this class by next week. You'll see where I'm driving at. I've only given you one explanation. Explanation 1. So explanation 2 starts by next week. Just join the class. I am Edmondo Bilo. I'm happy you joined the class. Join me next week. Stay cool.